helping us to further unpack this is Lehlohonolo Thobela, who's a meteorologist and weather forecaster at the South African Weather Sevices. Lehlohonolo, it's always great having you with us. A very good afternoon to you. So we're currently hearing about two different levels, level 4s in fact, for the city of Cape Town, but there are also two different level alerts. Please elaborate further for us.
Yeah, good afternoon, Alicia. It's good to be here, and thanks for inviting us. Yes, still expecting disruptive rain over the southwestern parts of the country, mainly the west coast of the Western Cape into the southern parts of the province, mainly affecting the city of Cape Town, the western parts of the Cape Winelands into the west coast, expected to result in disruptive rain. It is a yellow level 4 warning of disruptive rain that might result in localized flooding over those areas. Then we also have damaging winds that are expected over the southwest coast. It is a yellow level 2. So the difference is that we have a high likelihood of damaging winds along the southwest coast, but it becomes a level 4 for the central and the western parts of the Western Cape because it's quite significant. You already heard Grobler mentioning that the soil is already saturated, which then promotes the flooding over those areas. And because they've had several cold fronts hitting that area for most parts of the week into the week that we are getting to the week that we are in now, it is expected to result in more of runoff as well as difficulty in obviously the drainage systems around the areas, especially if it's not looked after very well.
And Lehlohonolo, I mean, we've just come out of a recent very bitter cold front as well as inclement weather out in Cape Town. So what is causing this current wave of new systems or system alerts? I mean, let's talk about that at this stage.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing new. It's seasonal. It is in winter. The Western Cape receives most of its rain from the cold fronts during the winter, and we're just seeing more and more of these cold fronts hitting the southern parts of the country. We generally have cold fronts that usually makes landfall over the southern parts of the country throughout the year. But when it's summer, they move further south and then just slip south of the country. Once it gets to winter, it becomes more accessible in terms of the westerlies moving all these weather systems to heat the southwestern parts, stretching to the south coast as well as the eastern parts of the country. As we're expecting a 30% chance of showers and rain into the Eastern Cape as all these cold fronts move further east, leaving behind cold temperatures and moisture, which is available for it to result in snow over the high-lying areas of the Eastern Cape into the days that are coming from today. And then we're expecting disruptive snow with a yellow level 1 of minor impacts over the western half, especially the high-lying areas of the Eastern Cape. As we speak right now, we've already observed snow over the high-lying areas of the eastern half of the Eastern Cape, covering the Drakensberg Mountains, and that lead into Lesotho. So we're expecting more of the cold fronts, especially in winter. It is quite seasonal for these weather systems to result in the weather conditions that we're seeing in the southern parts.
And is it only specific to the Western Cape at this point, Lehlohonolo? And also, how long will these warning or alerts be in effect? And remember, we recently spoke last time about the importance of the length as well as level of these warnings.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I'd say it will affect mostly the Western Cape and the Eastern Cape province, especially these coming cold fronts. It will drop. It has already dropped the temperatures over the northeastern parts of the country. Gauteng woke up into some showers today, but it was because it also got some assistance from the upper level weather system that resulted in an initiating of clouds that would result in rain. But it just dropped temperatures in the northeastern parts. I mean, it's cold in Gauteng as we speak. It's because of the cold front that made landfall yesterday and moved further east, and behind the cold front there is quite cold air, and behind it then, because of it being in the eastern parts of the country, it resulted in a public front that dropped temperatures. But in terms of the northeastern parts, it will be just the drop in temperatures. Most of the rain is expected over the southern parts to mainly impact the Western Cape, Eastern Cape, as well as the southern parts of KwaZulu-Natal. These conditions are expected to last up until on Sunday. That's when we're expecting most of the southern provinces to have more of the rain, cold conditions, as well as windy, and some possibility of some destructive waves, especially along the south coast of the country. But once you get to Monday, it will just be a 30% chance of showers and rain, especially along the south coast and the extreme northeastern parts of KwaZulu-Natal. But if you'll be in Gauteng this weekend, you can expect a fine day with cold temperatures, but becomes cool over the northern parts. So we start seeing some recovery in temperatures from late Sunday into Monday, especially for the northeastern parts of the country.
And Lehlohonolo, how do residents in those above mentioned areas, of course, better prepare for impact? And where do they also get their timeous detailed weather reports and updates?
All right, so I'll start with the easiest one. Once it's cold, make sure that you're wearing warm clothes. Take care of the little ones because, I mean, the kids always need an adult to think for them. So forever, make sure that you have a jersey around for them to be warm with a jacket. But if you are in the area that's prone to flooding, just make sure that you don't try your luck in driving into overflowing streams, as well as if you're walking, make sure that you stay away from walking into areas that are flooded. And if you're driving, keep a safe distance. Make sure that your headlights are working and don't try to be a smart one in trying to driving into overflowing streams, because we know what happens once you try your luck in dangerous conditions like that. But mostly importantly, make sure that you're warm. And if you have any heat sources that you're using and that may be out of reach, or rather I'd say heat sources that we know that may cause fire, make sure to monitor them, especially in the house, and because it might cause fire and result in some dangers in their house and probably get into felt fire. So do make sure that you take the warnings as serious as we do and keep safe.
Absolutely. Lehlohonolo, we really appreciate that input this afternoon. That is, of course, Lehlohonolo Thobela, the meteorologist and weather forecaster at the South African Weather Services. Of course, Cape Town is currently on level 4 alert for this coming weekend.